It's the first West Side Story review in Con Accento.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Slant.
Yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version.
All right, Paulie, let's go.
Paulie here, back on the Latino slant. Hope everyone is doing well. Don't forget to make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Please comment on this video. And if you'd like to check out our merch, go to our merchandise page at Stream Elements and you get yourself a cup. You can drink stuff out of it. I have some cafecito in there. Oh boy. Oh boy. If you're subscribed to this channel, you know we've been waiting for this. If you are a fan of the musical and then 1961 film West Side Story, you've come to the right place. We have our first trusted review in. I say trusted from a reviewer that whose work that I have grown to really like and who has been on the channel. So let's get right to it and let's break it down because I have been waiting for her to post this. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Rosa Reviews of Latinx Lens. Let's get to the story right now. Let's get to her review right now. Right off the bat, she says, I have to admit that I am not a fan of the original West Side Story, 1961, for obvious reasons. But I do admire the choreography. I understand it's a product of its time, but it doesn't mean I'm going to ignore its problematic depictions of Latinos. Interesting. Therefore, I didn't have many expectations going into this newest version. Learning about this remake didn't move my needle. I like that. Oh, I love that. Didn't move her needle. God, that's good writing. It was only after seeing Spielberg's name attached to the project that my needle slightly moved, and not for the reasons you may think. West Side Story 2021 is directed by Steven Spielberg and stars Rachel Ziegler as Maria, Ansel Elgort as Tony, Ariana DeBose as Anita, David Alvarez as Bernardo, Michael Feist, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, Riff. It follows Maria and Tony's forbidden love, two people from rival gangs. The Sharks, led by Bernardo, Maria's brother, are Puerto Ricans, and the Jets, led by Riff, Tony's close friend, are a mixture of Irish and Polish. Their long-lasting rivalry embroils in an area where gentrification is the main threat. And there's the two leads. I'm sure by now you guys have seen a lot of videos, images, all that stuff, trailers. We have all the about 3 videos now of trailer reactions and information. So that has gotten a lot of traffic here to the channel. So check those out as well. Yeah, let's keep reading. There is no doubt that this is an improvement from the 60s movie. There's no brown face. Wow. The fact that happened. The offensive lyrics have been modified, and most notably, there's the casting of Latinos in Puerto Rican roles. The aesthetic is desaturated with its color palette, even with some of the costumes, giving it a grittier, grounded feel to this world that feels grander and realistic. That you can definitely see in the trailers, and that for sure has piqued my interest in just the cinematography and the look and feel. So I'm glad that she's pointed that out. She's pointing out the pros. I know what she's going for, and I appreciate that. All right, well, let's continue. Hmm. The memorable songs are stronger, but the choreography lacks compared to the original film. It's entertaining but comes nowhere near the original film's level of difficulty. The film collectively feels cohesive, entertaining thanks to the directing, but more importantly, due to its superb acting. Okay, so the songs are going to be the songs, right? Which were Broadway hits. So that's why that's what you remember. When You're a Jet, Tonight, Maria, all those great songs. I Feel Pretty. Now she in Rosa's review, she's saying that she is not fond of the choreography, and the choreography in the '61 movie was just amazing. Nothing ever seen like that before in film. So yeah, that's I think that's interesting that she points that out, and she's saying the directing is great, but it's the acting. And here's a photo of Ariana DeBose as Anita. And let's go on. The characters are given depth, substance, and development. Debo says Anita is easily the best thing in the film. Wow. I'm excited to hear that. I'm very, very pleased to hear that because she's basically filling in filling in the shoes of Rita Moreno in her Academy Award winning performance. Wouldn't that be something? Since I'm already hearing that first line, and I've heard it from other thoughts as well, is that it's Ariana that is gonna the standout performance. Ooh, that gives me chills. Maybe she'll get one. Maybe she'll get an award. She understood the assignment and submitted extra credit. Her correct. Wait a minute. She understood the assignment and submitted an extra credit and submitted it extra credit. Her charisma is off the charts. She's magnetic, beautiful, talented, and unbelievably captivating. I do not argue that. In the very little that I've seen in interviews, you can't take your eyes off of Ariana. And she's absolutely gorgeous. And to hear that she's a superb actor, singer, and dancer, that gives me that's to me that's reason to go. There's a lot of great reasons, and then we'll talk about that in a minute. As far as my own review, I can't imagine the pressure she must have been under since she's the only cast member to depict a character previously played by an actor who was involved in the movie. That's true. Yet she delivers an Oscar-worthy performance. Boom! Rosa throws it down. That not only is an Oscar-worthy performance, but she had to do it with Rita Moreno, who's in the film as well as the Doc's widower who runs the store. Fantastic. This is a picture here of Mike Feist. Sorry, man. Feist as Riff. And I'm already going to tell you that in the trailers, and we've talked about this in the reactions, I really liked Riff. I loved what I was hearing about Riff. Not to take anything away from Russ Tamblin's 61 performance, but I'm like, this guy's got something. Okay, meanwhile, Elgort, who plays Tony, is dry, lacks charisma, but does have a decent singing voice. Well, that's not good. Because you're talking about the lead. You're talking about the lead that we're supposed to love and believe in and want to succeed. And an acting singing voice can be, that can be fixed in post. So that is troublesome for me to hear. I believe the chemistry between him and Ziegler, but I believed, okay, she believed it. But both were outshined by the supporting cast. Yikes. Ouch. Man. To be outshone by your supporting cast. Look, the main story is Tony and Maria, but there is a big ensemble. There is a lot of, it's not just them. And knowing the story so well and the music, there's a lot of West Side Story that's not just them. However, you want to believe in their love story. I guess she's saying she believes in them, but is not taken with their acting like the supporting characters. And let's read along. Let's read some more. Let's read some more. Meanwhile, Ziegler has an angelic voice and delivers a strong performance in her introductory role. You got to remember, this is her first movie role ever. I think she, when she turned in an audition piece, maybe she was 18. Really young, coming out of a high school performance of a lead of like Little Mermaid or something like that. But just like Elgort, she's swallowed up by Dibose, Feist, and Alvarez. That's not good. That's not good. Listen, for as problematic as Natalie Wood's Latino accent was, Natalie Wood was Natalie Wood. She was very captivating, and you just loved her Maria. So yeah, okay. This brings me to Feist, who's another highlight in this film. He has the charisma, on-screen presence, and magnetism Elgort completely lacks. Oh, Riff and Tony are homeboys. They grew up in the streets together, and Tony was his number one before Tony started going away from the gang. Riff is charismatic just by nature, just from the get-go. The first number is Winnie or Jet. And he's a leader. So I loved hearing that this guy brings it. I love hearing that. I don't like hearing that, again, the two leads lack it. His performance is so effective that his character's outcome is emotionally moving. Yeah, well, we know what happens with Riff. Lastly, EGOT recipient and returning original cast member Rita Moreno is great as Valentina. She bridges both films. Oh, that's great. Which surprisingly works, but she brings her accent with her again. Ooh, whoa. And she puts it in parentheses again. Tony Kushner, who did the screenplay for this, right? And let me make myself a little bigger there. Who wrote the screenplay for this Pulitzer Prize winner, Tony Award winner. I'm sure wrote her an amazing role. However, if you're bringing the Mister, the accent from the 50s and 60s, it's outdated. And it's connected to a stereotype that not necessarily. I would say that in West Side Story, the characters are definitely multifaceted. They weren't one-dimensional. But it's connected to an age of one-dimensional Latino stereotypes. That was not a good thing. So, 2021, we're here at, Spielberg and Kushner have brought back the accents. All right, well, let's keep reading. I hope you're enjoying this. Please comment. Please make sure you're letting me know what you think about. Do you want to go see West Side Story? Are you remotely interested? Were you a fan of the old one? I am. I'm deeply. To me, this is like comic book heaven. And I'll let you know why later. Okay, there's Rita Moreno's Valentina. The accents were kept for some reason, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this decision. Hearing Natalie Wood portray Maria with a thick accent was offensive, but how much progress is it when a Colombian American does it? This is a conversation that'll take weeks. Realizing this film isn't aimed towards Latinos is slightly disappointed, but not surprising. Oh! Even with the support of Moreno as an actor and producer, She is one of the producers of the film, and the casting of Latinos as members of the Sharks. Keeping the accents tells me that this demographic is purposefully being depicted in this manner. By continuing to perpetrate this stereotype to audiences will only further cement that Puerto Ricans speak like this. Let's add that on all Latinos speak like this. I know a few Puerto Ricans, and they don't speak this way. But I also acknowledge that I am not from Puerto Rico, and so I cannot speak on their behalf. I strongly urge you all to seek out their perspective. I'll be sharing some of these reviews on her Twitter. Open yourself to their interpretation and viewpoint on how their culture is being depicted. Well, overall, she says West Side Story is visually appealing with some improvement from the original's problematic things, but I would undoubtedly prefer to watch Spielberg's first shark film. Nice touch there at the end. 3.5 stars. I don't know if that's out of 5, but check out Rosa Reviews and we'll have her link in the chat. Wow. So she hits a lot here at the end, this last paragraph. And again, put this in so you can see it. Again, if you're a follower of this channel, you know we have talked ad infinitum on the legacy of racism and stereotypes that Hollywood has at its feet from the 20s on in regards to Latino portrayals. So back then, Rita and her performance was a breakthrough. It was an absolute breakthrough. Speed up to what is 60 years later? These are problems. And I understand that this is set in the 50s and that immigrants newly arrived do have accents. So, as a son of Latino, some are immigrants, some are American, right? Or American born. I heard our accent, and over a couple of generations, those accents go away. But I think what I'm trying to say is I know the ear and how broken English sounds from a Latino. In my perspective, along with Rosa's, is Mexican or Chicano West Coast, which is different than the Midwest, different from Chicago, definitely different from Miami, and finally Puerto Rico to New York. It's a dialect that when done right and portrayed right, it could actually be very riveting, like a Southie of Boston or a Southerner of Louisiana. These are fascinating accents and dialects that are connected to certain parts of America, and they should be done right. They absolutely should be done right. I can't tell you how many times on the flip side where I've seen a Puerto Rican or a non-Mexican or Chicano Latino actor portray a Chicano or a zoot suiter in TV shows and movies where you can tell they didn't do their homework. No, I've never heard someone sound like that. We know right away the authenticity. I can cite 2 examples. Was Cliff Davis in Training Day, where his acting was stellar, but the accent was god awful, especially when he says carnal. And in recent times, there was a really, really bad TV show called City of Angels, Penny Dreadful City of Angels, where there was a whole zoot suit through line. And you could tell that they hired Latinos from the East Coast. It's a different energy. It's a different way of speaking. In fact, the performance of the British actress and her name escapes me. And Natalie Dormer, where her character was a supernatural character, where she played different people. She plays a pachuca, and at one point in the TV show, her accent, because she's a trained actor, her accent was more on point than the Latinos from the East Coast. I mean, I kid you not. And why did this matter? To our Latino ears, it is like the erase board, the chalkboard. It just is, man. It just is. So when I hear this, I hear. So I too am very curious as to what our fellow Puerto Rican brothers and sisters think after they see West Side Story, after they hear these accents, because the Puerto Rican accent from Puerto Rico to New York is very distinct and can be replicated. So it's not just your general, I talk like this, and hello, Tony, which is. So that is a fine review, Rosa. We really thank you for that, and I think it's very interesting. I've heard some other thoughts as well in regards to West Side Story, the latest film. Some good, some not so good. Some problematic statements from the writers and directors, and where political agendas and social identity issues, they're talking about those, and I don't feel that that's the case for West Side Story. It's a love story, and it's about two warring factions that don't like each other, and that's it. So what's going to happen is we're going to go check out West Side Story ourselves, and we'll probably do a quick out of the theater reaction, and then we'll do a later on a sit down, kind of like breaking down the movie panel. But I want to again thank Rosa Reviews from Latinx Lens. I really recommend you follow her, and we will keep you abreast of all things West Side Story here on the Latino Slant. And wherever you're at, please keep your slant muy fuerte. Paz y dale gas.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Slant.
Yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version.
Paulie, let's go.
All right, listen, y'all. Just go ahead and let the guest play. Come on, jeez. That's better.